hello and welcome everybody. I'm Mike DelVisco, and this is the very first live fishing tip here on Facebook on my fan page. And it's taken me a little bit to get this whole thing working, but seems like it's going to work pretty good right now. So you'll be able to tune in and get fishing tips all throughout the week, and I'm going to kind of keep it topical according to the seasons. But what I thought I'd share with you here for this very first one is last week I had an opportunity to get together with some of the guys from Bass West USA Magazine, Russ Bastows Como, and he came out all the way from the West Coast to come fish with me for a few days. And we also filmed an episode for Bass West USA TV, a new show that's started up here a couple weeks ago. And we had an opportunity to go fish some really cool lakes. And the thing that happened, of course, you know, you plan these fishing trips, and wouldn't you know it, major cold front comes through 2 days or a day before everybody's showing up. So front blows through, wind blows real hard the next day. The following day we're scheduled to go fish. Bright bluebird skies, hardly any wind, water temperatures dropped 8 or 9 degrees, and in southern lakes, like I live down here in South Carolina, that's you know, pretty devastating to the fish, especially in shallow bodies of water, which is, you know, what we fished. Maximum depth in the lake that we fished was about 6 or 7 feet, so pretty shallow water. But I tell you what, one thing I've learned over the years, doing this for as long as I have, you would think that you'd have to really slow down and try to get a finesse bite. Well, just the opposite was true. And Russ was fishing a combination of different things, including a spinnerbait. One of his own design spinnerbaits is Russ Bastows spinnerbait. He was catching a bunch of fish on that particular bait. I wanted to do something just a little bit different, so I was fishing a bunch of different crankbaits to kind of see what these fish wanted. Do they want, you know, a tight wobble, a wide wobble, you know, profile of the bait, size of the bait, color bait, things like that. And I fished a bunch of different ones. One of the ones that I did fish quite a bit was this Rapala DT flat side bait, which is a great fall bait. Looks just like a shad. It's got a really tight wiggle to it, but this particular bait didn't go quite deep enough for what I needed. We were fishing small breaks that came off of like 2 to 3 foot of water and dropped off into like maybe 4 or 5 foot of water tops. And in shallow lakes, you're not going to see that huge, you know, break that you would in big reservoirs that have drops and ledges and things like that. Something that might go from 5 to 6 feet down to 20 feet. You're going to see more gradual tapers in the contour of the bottom. So we were targeting that 2 to 3 shallow with a 4 to 5 transition, and those fish were located right on that little edge. So I kind of needed a bait that would get down there and dig the bottom a little bit. And after a few tries, I came up with the combination that was working really good for us, which is a Rapala DT6. This bait on about 10 or 12 pound test will dive 6 feet deep. I was fishing 14 pound test just to keep the bait up just a little bit, and I'd throw it right up onto the shallow portion at 2 to 3 foot, and I'd wind it and I'd feel the bait digging the bottom, and every time it would come off that little edge and kind of ricochet off that 2 to 3 and drop down to that 4 to 5, I'd stop my bait. So I'd kind of be feeling it hitting the bottom, all of a sudden it would stop, and then I would stop my retrieve. Pretty much every single fish that we caught happened in that little transition. They were set up on those little breaks, feeding on shad and other types of bait fish and things like that. So that was the real key. And I think the mistake a lot of anglers make is not fishing aggressive right after a cold front. Everybody thinks you got to really slow down and try to finesse these fish, and we tried. We tried to finesse them and you know, throw a shaky worm and and throw a worm and throw a jig and slow down a little bit. And we caught a few fish on that, those techniques, but the real winners were the spinnerbait and the crankbait, trying to go for that reaction strike, making the fish bite when they don't really want to feed, but they're reacting out of instinct. So try these tips next time you're faced with a cold front. And I know you're going to be. We're getting into late October now, and down here in the south we've got pretty good fishing for another 2.5 months, and I can guarantee you we're going to get a bunch of more cold fronts coming through. I think we've got another one coming this week. It's supposed to get down 40 degrees at night, and that's going to cool the water temperature down even more. So just be aware of what's happening with your fish, and don't be afraid to be a little bit more aggressive with them when the water gets cold. You might be very, very surprised the next time you get out there and go fishing. I'm Mike DelVisco. I'll see you on the water. We'll see you here for another edition of Bass Bites Live.
If you're a hardcore bass pro or just a weekend warrior, call us or log in to get the latest products. Our entire staff is made up of fanatical bass anglers. We have one of the largest inventories in the nation. So when you absolutely gotta have it, shop Bass Tackle Depot, where the pros shop. 1-800-591-7171 or BassTackleDepot.com 24 hours a day.